Daniel O'Donnell's career spans a remarkable 40 years and shows no signs of slowing down. Now, here to tell us what's next is Daniel's manager and acclaimed producer in his own right, Kieran Cavanagh. Kieran, listen, a very good afternoon. Lovely to speak to you.
Good afternoon, Jerry, and good to speak to you also.
Kieran, we're here to talk about the release of Daniel's new album, I Wish You Well, and his May tour of the same name, which is in May 2023 next year at some great venues. So it's interesting that things have come full circle in that Patsy Cavanagh wrote the title track, I Wish You Well. He penned Daniel's big hits, of course, Home to Donegal, etc., released in February of 2023.
Correct. What we did on this album, Jerry, was that Daniel contacted a lot of friends of his who are actually Irish songwriters and asked them for songs. That it was his wish to record, if not a full all-Irish composed album, but at least as many as possible. And this album, I Wish You Well, has no less than 10 original tracks written by Irish composers, which is fantastic. And Patsy, of course, being one of them, and many others as well, and beautiful songs that stand up. And Daniel is delighted, as I am, to support Irish writers whenever and wherever possible. So we hope that the fans will like it. It's been well received in its first week of release, and it's already charted in UK. So we're pleased with that. Yeah.
Indeed, some of the other songwriters are really highly regarded and highly acclaimed songwriters. PJ Murray, Brendan Graham, Sean O'Farrell and Derek Ryan.
Yes, indeed. All of them, some of them written previously for Daniel, some that we've had. PJ has written a few as well for Daniel in the past, Plains of Kildare, and a beautiful song called I'm Grateful, which was on our last album. He's a lovely writer, as is, of course, Brendan Graham, You Raise Me Up. Sean O'Farrell has written previously for Daniel and has 2 tracks on this album. And Derek Ryan has written before for Daniel and has a track on the deluxe pack of this album, which is Pillow Talk. So great to be able to support these guys.
Indeed. Now, the album is out now and could make a great Christmas present with tickets bought in advance of the tour. Now, all the dates are in May. The venues are the Symphony Hall, Birmingham, the Corn Exchange in Cambridge, the Princess Theatre in Torquay, the London Palladium on the 14th of May, Devonshire Park Theatre, Eastbourne on the 16th of May, and on Wednesday the 17th of May takes Daniel to the Guildhall in Portsmouth. On the 19th of May, I Wish You Well will be performed at the Liverpool Philharmonic Hall, always a popular venue for Daniel and his band. Now, the tour closes Sunday 21st of May at the Spa Theatre in Bridlington. Kieran, it's apparent Daniel just loves the buzz of being on the road and on stage.
Yes, he does. I mean, we have in recent years scaled down somewhat. He will still work probably anything from 60 to 100 shows in a year, and which would take up 6 months of his year. He likes to get some R&R time as well, but he's, Daniel, he ends up recording and he ends up doing this and that. But I've just come back from Branson, Missouri a few days ago, where he's performing there in a residency, which he does every November. And yes, he still has the buzz. He still has that light that comes on when he hits the stage, and loving it is the only thing I can say. Where he just goes out there for his 2.5 hours, and in his zone is all I can call it, where he just takes on a whole new life. And what an entertainer! I mean, I'm many years around him, and I'm still, my jaw drops still at the master he is of entertaining a crowd. He's just, apart from his singing, his vocal ability, his ability to entertain is just unbelievable.
Indeed. Now, if you'd like to go along to one of those concerts, do check our website, irishradio.org. There's a banner, just click on that. It brings you to Daniel's own website where you'll find the booking information. Kieran, people can expect to hear new music of the highest calibre, such as Under the Spell of Loving You, written by Fergal Flaherty. It All Was There, written for Daniel by Brendan Graham and Rolf Loveland, who wrote You Raise Me Up. They have a Bible-esque feel to them. Now, Daniel's range is incredible. When he was a guest, he said that he's worked out what songs suit his voice and he's comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, nobody knows a song better than Daniel himself that suits him. I mean, we agree 99% of the time on songs. I get an awful lot of songs in for Daniel, and on one listen, I will generally know which ones I should, pass on. And 9 times out of 10, we agree. But he is he is a master of picking a song, I think. And now he is, I suppose, in control of more in control than he was in previous years of what he records. And he just likes to record now songs that he loves to sing. And I mean, that makes perfect sense for any artist that they're singing songs that they love to sing rather than being told by a label or whatever you sing that song. And I see that now on this album where every one of those songs Daniel wanted to record them, and that makes a huge difference, Jerry, in the feel of the album. That these are songs that the artist, being Daniel in this case, wants to sing.
Indeed. Now, reflecting on Daniel's background, he was a guest on the show recently and also a year ago to celebrate turning 60. Now, he was born in 1961 in Dunlow in County Donegal. He now lives in Kincashel with his wife, Magella. He enjoys spending time with all the family, which includes his stepchildren, Siobhan and Michael, and their children as well.
That's correct. I mean, when he's not touring, he will bolt for Donegal. Is all I can say. He would nearly drive overnight 4 or 5 hours, or fly and drive to get home. And then he splits his time between his home in Donegal and he keeps a place in Tenerife. So between that, he has the best, I suppose, of both worlds. He has a home life, which is great for an artist coming back in off a long tour. It grounds them. Loves to be with the grandchildren, and then of course when it gets too cold in Ireland, usually in January, February, March, he will head to Tenerife, where the climate is good, and we're not touring in those months, so it's a nice break for him there also. But his work ethic is still 110%. He of all the artists I've been around, he just has an amazing work ethic. I can map something out with Daniel 15 months ahead or 18 months ahead, and he will execute it to the T. It's a pleasure to be around somebody with that work ethic nowadays.
Indeed so. Now, alongside that, his output is prolific. In 2021, Daniel broke his own world record. He became the first recording artist to have at least one new album every year in the artist album charts for 34 consecutive years. Now, further stats to his name are 19 top 10 albums. 17 of them have been this century, and a rather unique achievement, you'll have to say, Kieran.
It's actually unrivaled in world music. There's no other artist in the world who has this record in any individual country, and there's certainly no artist in England, from the Rolling Stones to U2 to Madonna to anybody else, who has had an album in the charts, which is now 35 years come last week, because we charted last week again in the UK charts, who has had 35 years of an album in the charts every year for 35 consecutive years, a new album in the charts for every year for 35 consecutive years. It is a phenomenal record and output of work. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. Now, Kieran, those going out to see the shows can expect to hear the new music, which is recorded at the Black Mountain Studios in County Louth, but no doubt there'll be other favourites. The usual classics will also be on the bill.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel is very mindful of his fans, and of course, nobody knows them better than himself and their likes, and he listens to them, and he, as I always say, he goes off script during a show, and if he gets a song called up from the audience, he'll just turn to the band and say, "Give me an F," and off he goes, and that won't be on the set list, but nobody will leave the theatre without hearing their favorite usually. But yeah, they'll hear the old reliables, Jerry. They'll hear, country and Irish, a lot of his own hits over the years, and usually 3 or 4 tracks from the new album as well. So it's a very well balanced program of favorites, I guess. Yeah, Daniel's show is always favorites, really.
Now, people no doubt will always go away from the theatre very satisfied and happy after seeing a show. Now, it must be said that after lockdown, people are keen to see their favourite performers live. Daniel did Facebook Lives and recorded at home during that time, but no doubt he's glad to be back to sort of some sort of normality at this stage.
Well, yes, he is. We all are, because thankfully, while he made, an effort to try and reach his fans via Facebook and doing live Facebook broadcasts, which he was doing every Sunday for quite a while during lockdown, and we even did a streaming show in 21 again that went out to fans. And but there's nothing, thankfully, nothing that replaces the live experience, the live concert, the live act, the live audience. For the artist, the live audience, they feed off them, and of course the audience like to see their favorite artist, in this case Daniel, live in person. And of course now, thankfully, we're finally back to doing a meet and greet again. He's currently in America and is still coming back out now after each show to meet the people, which again, sadly, we couldn't do during lockdown, or even our last tour of the UK, we couldn't do it. But thankfully, we can now tell fans that next May, Daniel will be coming out to meet and greet.
Now, Daniel was studying business in his teenage years and singing in his sister Margot's band. Now, he's frequently told me that since he decided to go solo and full-time in music and succeed as a musical artist, the years have flown by. He's still singing some of his early hits, as we mentioned, and has come right up to date doing animated videos to accompany some songs, such as the recent hit Down at the La-Di-Da. And also he released a very, very funny video that was shot with great special effects for Halloween.
That's correct. The La-Di-Da was hugely popular last year, and it's still a firm favourite in the show, and a song that has found its place on the set list pretty much permanently now, because the fans love it, and we accompany it with the video on our show projection. And then the same two guys who are from Daniel's hometown in Dunlow, Sean Dugan and Kieran McCann, came up with this idea to do a Halloween video a couple of years ago. But of course, COVID came and we had to shelve it and park it for a couple of years. And we just got to film it in Dunlow this past August, and we released it over Halloween. And it is an 8-minute video of a sort of a funny, scary Halloween thing where Dunlow is invaded by Daniel lookalikes who go into his museum, and then after a lightning storm they come alive and they terrorize the people of Dunlow, and Daniel becomes the hero that saves the day and goes out and takes on these look-alike counterfeit Daniels, and he has his flamethrower and he has his sword, and it's a good bit of fun, Jerry, and it can be viewed on YouTube. Yeah, but it's called The Night of the Daniels.
Yes, I've seen it, Kieran. It is absolutely hilarious. It really is.
Yes.
Just absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. Now, Kieran,
we're now taking movie offers, Jerry. Yep.
Now, Kieran, from our many chats, I know how professional you are, and you've worked with the greats such as Johnny Cash and many more. Approximately how long have you been in Daniel's team?
I started with Daniel in 1988, so I'm 34 years working with Daniel. We both know each other personally since our mid to late 20s, and then I started working with him in 88, like I said, as his Irish promoter. And then in 2015, I became his manager when his longtime manager, Sean Riley, retired. So I'm around him 34 years. When I say around him, working with him 34 years, Jerry, yeah.
Wow, that's a long time. No, it doesn't surprise me that you find it rewarding working with Daniel. I hope many people will come out to the shows throughout May. Once again, a little reminder, you can see irishradio.org. Concertgoers can expect to hear mixtures of upbeat songs and ballads and other songwriters besides those previously mentioned, Fergal Flaherty, Brent Graham, Kieran, of course, as well as some of the 14 tracks on I Wish You Well being performed. Those will be alongside the old classic favourites, as you mentioned. Now, Daniel shows a professional professionally staged with some excellent lighting, special effects, and the full band. Now, often there's a surprise support act. Just to mention for those listening in Ireland today, the I Wish You Well show will be performed at the Bord Gáis Energy Theatre, formerly the Grand Canal Theatre in Dublin, Sunday 27th of August of next year. Kieran, is there anything you'd like to add about the album or the shows that haven't been covered already?
Well, I think that just staying with the Bord Gáis there, Jerry, we also have an Irish tour going on sale this Friday, which, you know, will play all over Ireland. We haven't done an Irish tour since 2019. So by that, I mean, we haven't gone around Ireland, which we always did in the past, almost every year. So we're going to visit Athlone, Wexford, Belfast, Derry, Bundoran, Galway, Ballyconnell, Tullow, Limerick, Castlebar, Cork, Opera House, and Bord Gáis, as you said. So a good spread there all over Ireland for next August 23. And in terms of the show, I think the fans will get the favourites. It's a high production show, as you just said. We have a very good lighting and sound crew that have been with us many years. And we try and bring the best possible to the fans. Whatever the theatre allows us to build, we'll build it. You know, some theatres, you can't empty the truck and bring everything in, but we build as much as we can.
Kieran, as always, it's a pleasure speaking with you, as always. Thank you for giving us an insight into Daniel's years in the music industry and details of what to expect from the I Wish You Well May 2023 tour.
It's a pleasure as always, Jerry, and thank you again for your continued support. It's appreciated.
Oh, how the nights they are lonely, as I lie awake in my bed. I lived for loving you only, now the memories flow through my head. We thought we would walk hand in hand as we reached the sunset of life, but the Lord, He had other plans when He showed you the way to His light. Pillow talk, darling, wherever you are. Each night as I lay down to rest, you're always in my thoughts, and I whisper, pillow talk. Sometimes when I'm holding our picture, I remember the years with such pride. No gold could have made me more richer than having you here by my side. There are days when I can still feel you, when the house is silent and still. They say time will help me to grieve you, but I know that it never will. Pillow talk, darling, wherever you are. Each night as I lay down to rest, you're always in my thoughts, and I whisper, pillow talk, darling, wherever you are. Until God lays me down to rest, you'll always have my heart. How I miss our pillow